See if it makes a difference. Oh,
Here we go. We are live. Welcome everyone to episode 4 of Carl, Za, and I reacting to the world with a heavy focus on China. How you doing today, Carl?
how are you, sir? Where's your shirt?
I'm good.
Where's your shirt?
Hold on a second.
I come prepared. Okay.
Here we go.
Now we can get started.
This is way harder than last week. I got a little bit of a shoulder injury.
Oh no! What happened? Lifting?
We had to. Well, no, I was helping out at the school in Children's Day, and we had this giant 2-meter inflatable ball that I helped organize some stuff, and it ended up being indoors because it was raining outside. And I was showing the kids how to get a lot of height on it. So for basically 3 sessions, 3 hours, this 2-meter ball, and it comes down with a lot of force, even though it's filled with air. I'm pushing it up in the air as high as it can go. And now, it's gonna take at least a week to recover from that.
Man.
It was worth it. It was fun. So we got a lot of stuff lined up today, and we'll jump right into it as I'm bringing that up.
Yeah, there's one tweet that got deleted, but I think I have it on my phone because it's saved in the cache. I'll find it. There was a very ridiculous tweet.
Yeah, there were a couple of them when I went back through. They had been deleted or removed, or the original poster had been shamed into removing it. There's a few. Actually, there's another one, a bonus one I added, which instead of being shamed into removing it, they just blocked the comments so that nobody can correct them. I'll get to that. That's a classic too.
Yeah, they do that too.
Yeah. So we will. While you're looking for that,
I found it. Okay. So
send it to my WeChat, and I can.
I don't know if. No, it's saved on my phone. It's in my cache. Sitting in the cache. They deleted the tweet, but it's sitting on my cache on my phone. So maybe what I can do is do something like this. I don't know if people will be able to see it.
We can't really see it that well. But
it's. But let me turn on the audio, see if people can hear it. That's more important, I think.
Okay.
Especially for me, from Morocco, I come to the United States and I find city council and campaigns, municipalities campaigns talking about Israel, and this reminds me of Gamal Abdel Nasser. It's he needs to do reforms. Egypt was absolutely destroyed by bad economy, by a bad planning, and the scapegoat is Israel. Because he can never really talk about the reforms he needs to do. And it's the same thing that I'm afraid is coming, especially here, and where it's very important to understand the Israel fixation not as a proxy for a bigger war at a policy level. I think that's a very important thing. A lot of people are not aware of it, of how Israel has been just escaped for that.
You mentioned the issue of Israel as a proxy. Can you just unpack for us what the benefits are to China of hammering away on the Gaza question?
Well, I think it's beneficial for China, for Iran, and also for Russia in that sense, because if you're thinking that Israel is the source of all of your problems, you're not looking at your problems. You will never ask the question, okay, I actually don't have good electricity or good water today because it's because of the Zionists. That's not an answer. But you can see now a lot of this new generation, they get their new generation, as if I'm not part of it, but you get there. I mean, it's you see TikTok, Instagram. That's how you get your information, and you can see now, even the people's language. Oh, it's a Zionist occupied government. What are we talking about? You elected, you voted for these people, and it's a big problem because you're not approaching reality. You are constantly deflecting and blaming Israel for things that it has nothing to do with.
When the real penetration is from China.
Yeah, exactly.
Deflects from that.
Yeah.
And it deflects from the Chinese are conducting a genocide, and all of the attacks on Israel deflect from that.
So this is from the Hudson Institute, which is a neocon think tank in Washington. And what they're talking about is China doing an influence op on social media to distract from the real genocide in Xinjiang by blaming Israel on Gaza. Like, they got so much pushback. Hudson Institute actually deleted that tweet, but thankfully, internet is forever because the video got saved on the cache on my phone. So even though the tweet was deleted, it still shows up on my phone. That's why I had to play it from my phone. And this is what I talk about when they talk about China. Every accusation is a confession. This is what they do. They have been actually trying to talk about supposedly real genocide in Xinjiang to distract what's actually happening in Gaza. But, they have the audacity to turn that around. So I thought that was like just outrageous. And that's why I had saved it and sent it to you.
Yeah. I think that I've said this before, they've laid off the Xinjiang narrative for a while because it just would have been too tacky to do that while the Gaza issue was headline, on the front page, when you could see the destruction, you could see what was happening to people. And they laid off of it a little bit because it just would have looked so hypocritical. You want us to pretend to care about Muslims in China, to which things are happening to them, supposedly happening to them, which requires the use of our imagination, when what is going on in Israel we can see with our own eyes. It just would have been tacky. But now that it's not at the forefront, you'll see them perhaps trying to creep this narrative back in. And this may be their way of testing the grounds. And obviously, it didn't work. They got so much hate on that,
And there was so much to unpack what she said. She said, oh, it's a distraction. It's a distraction from the fact that they don't have electricity and running water. Well, Daniel, you live in Chongqing, China. How is your electricity and running water situation?
Well, we got no problem. We got no problem. Yeah, and then also to distract from China and Russia. Even this idea, even if there were things in China and Russia that people should be caring about, I mean, the government isn't funding China and Russia like they are Israel. Israel should be getting more scrutiny, even if you wanted to believe that there were things going on in these countries that you should care about that you're not funding. I mean, it's just basic logic. But it's, and I think for all of these reasons, people are seeing through that, and it doesn't work anymore. So they'll throttle back. They're going to try again. They're going to try again later on. Yeah. But obviously, it's just too much too soon, and it's not working for them.
And she's gaslighting the young people in the United States. He said, well, how can you blame the Israel or the so-called Israeli influence on the government? You elected the government in the United States. Well, I don't know how many Zoomers elected Trump. I mean, voted for Trump, right? I mean, this is just gaslighting to the max right here.
Yeah, and I mean, the idea that people are just choosing on their own, and they would choose these choices anyway, it kind of falls apart when you think about how much money is going into the pro-Israel lobby in the U.S. Obviously, people are being influenced. The average person, they're not deep into geopolitics like a lot of the people who are ending up on these panels. They're just like, oh, okay. And they are influenced by those operations. And that is a perfect tie-in to something that I forgot to mention last week. We were supposed to talk about that there was a mayor who apparently was, a CCP agent, and we talked about some of the ridiculousness of the auxiliary points, but we did forget to mention the main point and the main accusation. So let me see. Let me know if that's coming up on your screen. I'm not seeing it on my side.
Yeah, I see it. I see it.
Okay, for some reason it's not showing up here, but. Yeah, so this was the mayor who apparently was charged with being a CCP agent. And when you look at the actual accusation, what it was before she was a mayor, she was involved in some sort of a newspaper and apparently some sort of a Chinese think tank or something like that, potentially linked to the Chinese government, according to them, gave her articles to publish on her journal, on her newspaper. And so is that illegal? I mean, they could say that that's illegal, but they're not obviously not applying that equally across the board. And I would imagine that somebody who's publishing that, they would have looked at it and said, okay, yeah, I agree with it. They're saying that genocide is not going on in Xinjiang. This is something I agree with. I'm going to post it. The idea that that is a massive violation in a country where you're supposed to have absolute free speech and people are supposed to figure out these things on their own is an issue. But that's fine. If they want to say that this is a form of foreign influence, all it's doing is trying to convince people that, oh, you know what? There's something, you know, the narrative of actually what's going on in China is different from what you're being fed. A bigger violation than that would be a pro-Israel lobby actually working directly with government members and funding their campaigns to get them elected in order to pass pro-Israel policies. That would be, and that is happening 100%, a bigger violation. So the idea of making what this mayor did illegal, I don't really have a problem with that, but just apply it equally, because there are far greater violations going on than just that you're not paying attention to. I don't know if you had any more thoughts on that, or if you looked into her story more specifically.
Not specifically her story, but this is what they do now. They're using the FARA, which is a foreign registration, foreign agent registration law. They can claim, like, because this is very nebulous. They can claim anything, like if you meet with embassy staff or you attended some affiliated meeting, they can claim you are somehow a foreign influence agent, and you fail to register with the U.S. government that you are a foreign agent, so you violated this law. So that allow us to search your homes, and basically it's a tactic of intimidation. So it's to silence dissent. Anybody who say let's have rational ties with China, they will just throw the Pharaoh Act at you and then to shut you up. That's what the purpose is.
Yeah, but very selectively applied also, though.
Of course. I mean, they will never apply that to all these politicians receiving money from the Israeli lobby. I mean, that's most of the Congress. So
yeah. There's a comment here. This was I actually, this is something that I was speaking with a good friend of mine about a few years ago. I think that's probably a good idea, because with these claims against China, they have been used to sanction these regions and actually cause job losses for Uyghurs, to the point where factories are afraid to hire Uyghurs, because all it takes is an image of a Uyghur voluntarily working in a factory to be called a slave laborer. That was the only thing that was needed, and we've seen that happen before.
They don't even need an image. They're going after Labubu, right? They're saying Labubu because Labubu is made from Xinjiang cotton, so they don't even have to supply any evidence where the Xinjiang cotton is being planted using Uyghur slave labor. They just say Xinjiang cotton. Okay, end of the story. I mean, I've been to Xinjiang. I've been to the Xinjiang cotton field. It's like the actual cotton pickers I met in Xinjiang weren't even Uyghurs. They're from like neighboring Gansu province. And the reason she was picking cotton by hand is because there are some corners where the machine cannot pick cleanly, so she's like picking around the corners where the machine wouldn't get to them. But mostly nowadays they harvest the cotton by this large industrial combines. So it's
I visited a family also, and they had a field. It wasn't a huge field. It wouldn't have made sense to purchase one of these machines on their own for the size of their land. But what they would do is the whole village would get together and hire one to come in, and then they would pay their portion to have their land, their cotton harvested. And so when Xinjiang cotton was banned, that created a massive impact on those people, those ordinary Uyghurs. They were literally taking away their opportunities. And for some people, what we were saying before, one of the biggest drivers of extremism is poverty. That's been studied by the World Bank and a number of places. So by bringing economic opportunities to Xinjiang, it was a big part of calming those issues down. And I think that the policymakers who know that these are measures that are going to impoverish Uyghurs are hoping for that reverse effect, are hoping that will bring back the conditions required to breed extremism again.
I think that's one of the reasons Chinese government is plowing a lot of investment into developing local tourism in Xinjiang, because that's something that cannot be sanctioned by United States. When I travel to Xinjiang, I see a huge surge in domestic tourism. Like Chinese tourists from all over China visit, and they I forgot what the number is, like in the hundreds of millions of visits per year, which also, if more than 100 million people visit a place with their cell phones, and yet you cannot produce one single image of like atrocities, it says something.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. On to staying on the Xinjiang topic. This is a tweet from one of my friends, which is really interesting too. Dr. Luke, he is somebody I've been following him. He's been following me for quite a few years. I ran into him in Xinjiang for the first time. I was walking through the market and just randomly,
really?
he's like, hey, are you Daniel? I'm like, yeah. He's like, do you know who I am? I'm like, yeah, the guy who just got his PhD. And then the name came to me afterwards.
Nice.
But he's living there. He's living there in Xinjiang, and he's on holiday now because of a Muslim holiday, basically.
Yeah.
Like
he speaks Uyghur too. I met
yeah.
him also in 2019. He actually speaks Uyghur. He helped us like go to a Uyghur section of Urumqi and order the local food for us. So from as far as I can tell, he's pretty fluent.
Yeah. He's really immersed himself. But I mean, just simple little things like this that really show that it's not what is displayed overseas. This is a really cool video. It ties into bringing opportunities to Xinjiang. This was a case of an old video from 2011, and she, they asked what was her dream, what was her hope, and she's saying to have better roads. And then the video is in Chinese, but you can kind of see the infrastructure that has been developed now, and one of the world's longest highway tunnels. I think it was over 20 kilometers or something like that, that now connects all of these regions and brings so much economic opportunity to them. Let me bring that video up here. Oh, sorry.
Just for one of the hater in the comments says, "Who is that guy? Looks gay." Luke actually has a Uyghur girlfriend. just for that clarification. Anyway, okay, go ahead.
Okay, here we go.
能实现你一个愿望，地上的路好走，跳一条好走的路。
经过52个月的艰苦建设，我国加快建设交通强国的重大标志性工程之一，连通新疆南北的乌鲁木齐至玉里高速路控制性工程“天山胜利隧道”今天将贯通。
因为人民需要这样一条好走的路，祖国可以让高山让路，让河流低头，不是打穿天山容易，而是天山那头有人民。
Yeah, I mean, I visited the Huajiang Grand Canyon Bridge. I did a documentary on it. And the same, when something like that opens in those areas, it brings so much opportunity to the local people. And just the scale of the infrastructure is incredible.
It's an engineering marvel. Like I actually flew within Xinjiang across the Tianshan mountain. The mountain range is massive. It's massive, and they literally just tunnel it through. They tunnel it through in order to connect North and South Xinjiang. Now, instead of like taking out sometimes a day to go around, you just drives through the mountain, through the tunnels, couple hours you are on the southern side of Xinjiang. It's amazing.
Oh, it's a huge difference. Just some of the stuff that they do when you actually look at the terrain, it's like just out of this world. Right now, they're building the most difficult high-speed rail line that they've ever built, and it's going from Chengdu to Lhasa. Yes. That is incredibly difficult. And then about 10 years later, I think the plan is they're going to do something way more difficult than that. And that is going to be from Lhasa to Xinjiang. And you know what the terrain is like there. Those are unbelievable. The most rugged terrain in the world.
Yeah. I mean, like the fact that also only China would invest that much money and effort to build infrastructure like that in a remote area like that, because it's the Xinjiang Tibet border is very sparsely populated. So is the Sichuan Tibet border. Like in the logic of Wall Street, they will start question about return on investment. It's like, this is why you get a lot of question about China's building of infrastructures to the remote area. They say, well, it doesn't make sense. It's a wild white elephant project. It's over capacity. Why are you building the road to the middle of nowhere? But there's still people out there. The people out there still needs to be served. This is the quite difference from the kind of the Wall Street logic where everything needs to be justified by quarterly earning reports.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, for infrastructure projects in Canada, I know that we kind of wait until we're at a bottleneck and there's no other choice. And it's like, okay, now we've really got to do something about it. And you end up getting what you need 20 years later than when you actually needed it. Whereas here, it's the opposite. They build in advance, like the same thing, that Grand Canyon Bridge, the Huajiang Grand Canyon Bridge. It's like, is that really necessary? But they'll build it first, grow into it, because now it's connecting, Yunnan to other areas, to Guizhou. And maybe they never really get that ROI that would be required from, a Wall Street mindset to begin with. I mean, a lot of people say the same thing about the high-speed rail system. A lot of China's high-speed rail is really subsidized by the coastal lines. If it was just a pure profit project, only the coastal areas would have high-speed rail, and then the rest, and then the profits from those lines would go directly into executive pockets. Instead, it's subsidizing the rest of the country system. And
by the way, that's how a lot of the development in remote places like Xinjiang and Tibet are done. Chinese government actually pair individual cities. They will pair a rich coastal city to a town in Xinjiang. When I was traveled through Kashgar and Tashkurgan and places like that in southern Xinjiang, we saw this project sponsored by partner city Hangzhou or Shenzhen or one of the wealthier East Coast cities. They will use their revenue and plow into Xinjiang, and that helped the development. I mean, this is how Chinese government kind of distribute the wealth around the country.
Yeah, absolutely. We have now we're going to go into EVs. Obviously, Chinese EVs are under attack globally, but there are people waking up. I like this tweet from this guy. Americans are finding out about Chinese cars that they're not allowed to drive, and they're not happy. Is that freedom here in America when you can't get a product because it's too good? Let's see what he has to say. This is about 1.5 minutes. I think it's a really good summary of the situation and the feeling that's on the ground.
I guess we're not supposed to talk about it. I guess we're not supposed to talk about Chinese cars and how advanced they are compared to American car companies. American car companies look like the Stone Age. Have you seen some of these new Chinese vehicles and how advanced their battery technology and just their technology overall is so far advanced compared to where we are at? I mean, it's a joke. It's literally laughable. And the expense that you have to pay for an American car compared to a Chinese car is like night and day. So how much longer are we going to protect the U.S. automakers that are making garbage compared to China? How long before people go, yeah, I'm not buying into the U.S. car market. I want a car from China. Yeah, they're better, faster, better looking. Go down the categories. They're so much further advanced, it's not even funny. So what are we doing? Are we just protecting automakers that continue to make cars we don't want? Is that freedom? I'm just asking. Is that freedom here in America when you can't get a product because it's too good? Make it make sense.
mongering
Okay,
about
go ahead.
Chinese EV. This is why they had to fear mongering about Chinese EV being like spy vehicles, how they're gonna spy on your every move. Like, why would they even care about that? Like, I have a Chinese EV. I bought it in Indonesia. I don't care. Dude, even if they're spy on me, I don't care. You know, they can spy, they can map out all the route I drop my kids at school, you know. Why do I care?
Yeah. Who knows? Maybe you'll get like updates too. Say, Carl, I don't think you need that Dunkin' Donuts today. You know, you got to get back on your surfboard. Go to the beach.
Okay, that's it. That's cutting too close to home. That's where I make my stand.
Yeah. Then you're done with the Chinese EVs. I actually have some bonus items that I just loaded up this morning because it fits in perfectly with this EV thing. So, like you said, there's going to be this demonization campaign against Chinese EVs because they just can't compete with them. So there was this one here where there was an EV on fire from Real Insight. They post basically a bunch of anti-China content. That's what they're dedicated to. And so they showed this. I didn't load up the video, but it's a vehicle on fire. And they're like, look at this, another EV catches fire. 2 EVs in a single day. There are 50 million, somewhere around 50 million EVs on the road in China. This should be okay. Like, I mean, if you found 2 videos, that's it, of EVs exploding, that would be great. That would be like, do you want to add something before we continue? Because I got another point. Go ahead first.
Yeah, because Chinese EV is actually one of the safer EVs because of that type of battery they use. Chinese EVs mostly use LFP batteries. Because LFP battery is cheaper, but it's also less combustible than regular lithium batteries. So Tesla, Mr. Elon Musk is actually trying to build LFP batteries in America to use in his Tesla because of the Chinese technology had made it safer and cheaper to manufacture car batteries. And actually I saw the same tweet. Because just a couple of days ago I saw another video on Douyin, the Chinese TikTok, of a Lamborghini on fire. So I almost just hunted down that video and quoted it. Oh, look at the Lambo on fire, you know?
It was the Lambo on fire. That was the one. That was the one that they couldn't even find a video of a Chinese EV on fire to basically illustrate that. That's the one, the Lambo. And so even though it would be reasonable to find a few Chinese EVs on fire, 50 million EVs on the road in China. And according to the statistics, combustion engine vehicles catch fire more often than EVs do. But even with that in mind, they couldn't find an actual Chinese EV video. And when they started getting ratioed in the comments and people pointed it out, they closed the comment section. They closed it off. They didn't issue a correction. And that goes to show you a lot of these accounts, they're ideologically agenda driven. They're not accounts seeking to bring the truth about China to people. They have one mission and one mission only. And speaking of high-end sports cars, Ferrari, I like this tweet because, Ferrari is coming out with this really ugly electric EV. And even if you don't think it's ugly, I like how Chris points out here a key point. People are choosing Chinese EVs because they have superior tech in it. They have all kinds of features that they're interested in. And so to come out with an EV Ferrari and expect people to buy it with just because it has a brand name on it, a brand logo on it, I don't think it's going to work. When you drive around all of the high-end communities here, you used to see the first time I ever saw the Lamborghini SUV when it came out, pretty much as soon as it came out, I saw a bunch of them driving out of really high-end estates. Now, all of these estates, they're pretty much dominated by Chinese EVs. All of the rich people are buying Chinese EVs now. So to just get this, toy looking car, and expect people to buy it just because it has the Ferrari logo on it. I don't think it's going to work. And I think this guy made a good point. You want to add to that?
Yeah. But even for the people in the West that's hating, don't worry. That car wasn't made for you. that car was specifically a Chinese edition. It's made for the Chinese local market. Now that's what a lot of the automakers do now. Like Audi also have an Audi car just for China, because China is the world's largest auto market. They literally China is double. The Chinese car market is double the size of American car market. United States being the second largest car market in the world. So all the car companies know if they can make it in China, then they can make it in the world. They have to prove themselves in China first.
Yeah, the growth of the car market since I arrived in China in 2008 has just been extraordinary. So when you get these older apartment complexes with cheaper apartments, their parking garages underneath were not even designed for every family to have one vehicle, let alone families having multiple vehicles now. So the new real estate developments, they take that into consideration, but parking is a real issue for some of these older ones because it grew beyond anybody's expectations.
Yeah, I didn't send it to you, but I saw a video on Douyin. The public charging companies, in order to prevent the gas cars from occupying the spot where the car charger is, so they now have a AI robot that can recognize whether a car is an electric car or gas car. And if they saw a gas car, the machine hand will push out to hold that spot, to block you from going to that spot. I thought that was hilarious.
You know what? I'm going to jump ahead to this. Wasn't until later on, but because we're talking about parking spaces, you sent this to me. I'm not exactly sure what's going on here, but you want to comment on this one here?
Okay. So somebody sent a picture of a parking space with the numbers. You see 6.3, 6.5, and then instead of 6.4, it goes 6.3.1. So they call it a parking lot with Chinese characteristics. What they're implying is China censors is so crazy they will not allow you to use the numbers, the combination 6.4, which is usually associated with the June 4th, which is the last day of the Tiananmen Square protest, right? And so that was the implication. But what people actually find out is that's actually not a parking lot in mainland China. It's a parking lot in Taiwan. And the reason the number 4 is avoided is because number 4 in Chinese, it's homophone for death. So for superstitious reasons, you will go, even some hotels, they don't have the 4th floor or the 14th floor. They will skip a floor.
That's right.
So this is what's actually going on. But they thought this was an example of Chinese censorship. And so I actually quote tweeted it. I'm like, well, thank you for recognizing that Taiwan is part of China because that's a Taiwan parking lot.
Right. Okay. We'll jump back now to, what do we got here? Oh, some interesting news, some good news for people traveling to China. WeChat Pay is going to be connected with PayPal, and it's going to be a lot easier for international visitors to use their own payment services in China. You know what? Visa-free entry for so many countries. You're hoping to bring people in. This was, to be honest, they were a bit slow on this. They should have done something like this sooner. They're letting all kinds of people in while they're having all of these payment challenges. So this is some good overdue news. Usually they're ahead of the curve with stuff, but this one, it's late, but still great.
yeah, they have done. They apparently have, been taking some feedback, because another thing they did is, in Beijing Metro, now you can directly use Visa or MasterCard to swipe into the metro station. Remember the time you have to show me in Chongqing how to use the WeChat mini app Metro to generate the QR code to scan in? I mean, like, it's very simple, but for someone who have not been to China for a while, like myself, because the last time I used a Chinese metro system was in like 2019. So like I was still using the old way. I would go to a ticketing machine, find out my destination and find out how much it costs, and then scan my Alipay to spit out a plastic card with that amount of value. Then I use a plastic card to scan it. I was so proud of myself. I was showing my wife, I was showing my friend how to do it, and then you're like, Carl, come on, man, what are you doing? We live in 2025.
Yeah. The Lao Wai it got you where you needed to be on that. All right, we got something from Japan. I don't know if you saw this. This is where people were flipping out at this Chinese couple for doing this dance in front of Lawson. And we'll watch the video it's really cute. And it's just, there was such a miserable response to it in Japan. Let me see, where's the actual video? Here we go.
And this is obviously a Japanophile couple from China who went to Japan to pay homage to like the iconic Fuji mountain in the background.
Even using Japanese music.
And acting out like a scene from an anime, right? Like this is, and yet the guy who was complaining about them say, oh, look at all these creepy Chinese people blocking the entrance to the convenience market, which the poster replies that no, we actually pick a time at 5 o'clock in the morning when there's no one around, but like no, like that was not good enough, and I even made the tweet. I said, look, a Chinese Japanophile couple doing free advertisement for Japan and for Japanese tourism, and this is a Japanese like a right-winger response. And to one of the reply to mine is, oh yeah, but if they're Chinese, their video is gonna promote it to more Chinese, so that will lead to more Chinese coming to Japan. We don't want that. I'm like, oh well, thank you for being honest. Your real issue is with Chinese people. It's not necessarily with what they did. Yeah,
but they are. It goes beyond that though. Like it's such a. Like I've been to Japan a couple times and I love visiting there, but there's just something. Let's see what we got here. Let's go through, because I've got another example where they went off on a local also. Is there an image showing up for you?
I can see it.
It never shows up for me. There we go. Oh yeah. So actually, I'm going to come back to Japan in a second, but this was a perfect opportunity to say, hey, you want to come and dance? Come and dance in China. We don't have a problem with this. Let me see. This is kind of cool too. Yeah, like the response in China is like people are looking on, recording them and saying, "Oh, that's so cool! Foreigners are coming and joining our square dancing." There's such a joy to it. But what you said is it doesn't extend only to Chinese, because there was another one where there was let me see here, 13. I don't know if you saw this one.
Yes.
Yeah. So she was actually copying a dance from Indonesia. That kid that's on the front of the boat. Have you seen that before?
Yeah,
the viral kid.
The viral.
So she was copying, just having a great time. I think I've got it here. Yeah, and then she was forced to apologize for it. She was forced to. So the image on the right is her issuing a formal apology to Japanese society for doing this on camera or jumping on the bed or something like that. Like, what is going on? I mean,
and she's Japanese. She and her friends are Japanese. Yeah.
Like, is it that? You know, I know when I go there's something really special about the structure and how, you know, everybody's following, you know, all the rules, and it's quiet on the subway, and it's really interesting to experience. And it's like, you know, okay, I could see how you could, you know, how some people could live in a society like this and get used to it. But, you know, I would never want to live somewhere like that where you're always being watched, you're always being judged. You need to, you know, you can't act out, you can't show any, you know, outward emotion. And you've always got to be. I remember I rented an Airbnb in Tokyo. It was actually from I think they were originally from Guangdong, but they moved to Japan like 20 years ago. And they were like, you know, you got to sort your garbage and put it out, and that's fine. That's reasonable. You gotta empty the plastic bottles and do everything like that. So this is really responsible. They said, but make sure you don't mess up because people are watching. People are watching you. You know, the neighbors will be watching you. And it's like, Jesus, you know, like, I don't know. This just lighten up, guys.
I did saw some Japanese vloggers who said they felt free when they were in China. They felt much freer when they're in China. It's true, you know, like, we're not going to judge you if you're just laughing or having fun. As long as you are not bothering other people, you know, like nobody's going to judge you for that.
Yeah. No, it's like a militaristic level of rule following and making sure that you don't mess up on anything. I don't know. I mean, maybe if you get used to it, you're fine with that. But it's not for me. Now, AI data centers. That's going to be a big thing that the West is going to want to attack too. AI in general, because they really want to own this space. They really want to monetize this space. And in the face of, you know, China in many cases taking a more open source approach to this, it's a really, really big threat to corporate interests in the West. Now, one of the main things that's coming up too is also to not only attacking China, but attacking anyone in their own countries who are trying to address or want certain issues addressed. So China is being used once again as the boogeyman, as we mentioned last week too, to attack even their own people. So, you know, Pauline says that, the CCP has launched an all-out war against American AI. The divide we're seeing in this country is largely driven by bots and paid actors violating this FARA. You know,
by the way, this woman is one of the receivers of Israeli money. She's one of the biggest supporter of Israel in Congress. And here again, like what you point out, it's very selective. It's like they're always pointing finger at China. Like I said, every accusation is a confession. You know, there's a lot of
she votes for every funding. Votes yes to any funding to Israel. I actually responded with something along the lines of that. I said, using the same language, as the divide we're seeing in your country is largely driven by people beginning to wake up to politicians like you who take money from AIPAC, then spend your time introducing the Stand With Israel Act and voting yes on every Israel aid package, while you do nothing for your own country that's in decay other than scapegoating your issues onto China with no evidence whatsoever. And also blaming anybody in their society who are raising issues about AI, you know, trying to say that they're somehow associated with China. And that's something Kevin O'Leary has jumped onto also. That's one that you brought up. Yeah. Kevin O'Leary claims that China is funding protests against his Utah AI data center with hundreds of millions of dollars. Who would want us to stop having compute capacity to develop AI? It's only one. It's China.
Because people otherwise would not have a problem with data center in their neighborhood. And this is the thing. look at where those data centers build. They're never built in rich people's areas.
Oh yeah,
never. and if other people, non-rich people, complaining about data center being built in their neighborhood, drawing down electricity from their grid, raising the electricity price for them, then it must be China. That's the only explanation. It has to be the Chinese.
Like they're deliberately. I mean, so they're almost being facetious. Like they really can't imagine why some people in the general public would be against this. Like you have to be deliberately ignorant. You have to be deliberately ignoring that to say that I really can't think of any other possibility in the world other than the fact that China must be funding this dissent.
And also Kevin Leary, he's always posting himself as a big American patriot against the big bad China. He's Canadian.
Yeah, he's Canadian.
I mean, the dude is Canadian. What the heck? Why are you cosplaying of Americans for?
Yeah. He did another thing where he was saying he mentioned a specific campaign. Where he says this campaign is actually run by China, and unless somebody can come forward in America and tell us. And then there was these two women who were behind it, and they did a reaction video like, it's
two white women from Utah. Yeah, white women from Utah.
You really can't imagine. Same thing I was saying. You really can't imagine why we would be against this. And they did a really good takedown. But I mean, even all of the lessons growing up, like I like this reply saying that, Lorax must have been a Chinese agent also. Like, like some of the replies are great. Like people grew up understanding that these, massively polluting industries are a bad thing. I mean, you don't need the Lorax to tell you that either, but this is a value that has been held by people in these countries for a very, very long time. I mean, it'll be interesting to see how. I mean, this is a little bit off topic, still related, how China handles it too, because from what we're seeing, these data centers really pollute quite a lot. I know that. So from experience of opening a brewery in China, the environmental requirements are immense. One of the biggest, just for a brewery, which you're piping out natural stuff like, hops and yeast and stuff like that, like all natural stuff. They're not like, there are some cleaning chemicals and stuff like that you use in the tanks, which are quite harsh. But their requirement is that you have your own on-site sewage treatment and a filtration system before you pipe it out to the general sewage system, which will then get filtered again. That by far was one of the largest expenses in opening a brewery. And so I would imagine that there's going to be so many controls in place also for data centers without people even asking about it. It doesn't look like that is a priority in the U.S., especially I guess under a president like Trump, who's going all out on an attack against anything, green tech. But that leads to the obvious result that people are going to get upset and concerned about this. And once again, people are just trying to scapegoat it onto China.
Yeah, and also another problem is China, like these data centers are very power hungry. They're very energy intensive. China actually built a lot of power generation, so they have extra power to spare. Whereas in United States, the U.S. power generation has been essentially flat for the last 20 years. So what they're doing is that their power centers are eating into the public utility. They're eating into like the civilian use of electricity. That's what's driving the electricity rate up for everybody. I mean, if you complain about that, you must be a Chinese op. You must be a Chinese influence agent.
It must be infuriating to be, a concerned citizen in the West now, knowing that you're pretty much just going to be labeled a Russian agent, a Chinese agent, working for Iran, no matter what. As soon as you bring up some sort of an issue, the answer now is to just scapegoat someone else. Not only from business people, but from your own politicians also. We saw it throughout the Gaza issue. We saw it through every single issue. It's really remarkable. We will move on to something that is from, I'll let you take it over from here. This is from one of your old friends. Let's see. Tell us what's going on here.
So this is Noah Smith, America's #1 public intellectual. So he has always been on this China bad rant. Just the normal talking point. A lot of the Noah Smith's points are actually not original. He's just parroting the same mainstream talking points about China because he has actually never been to mainland China. He admitted to this to me 5 years ago in a public debate, which is still on my YouTube channel. He said he has never been to mainland China, yet he is writing prolifically on China and how China is bad. Somehow this guy has no connection to China, do not speak the language, never been there, is somehow pontificating, prolifically in American public space about China. And when you challenge him, he will block you. Like after his debate debacle, after I handed him his ass in that debate, he blocked me as well. And then can you bring that tweet again? His tweet. So this is why he give me honorable mention in the following reply. He said, China inspiring dipshit like Carl Zhan, Lei Gong, and Simon Yang to come into my Twitter feed and say dumbest shit imaginable. Very bad. Like, dude, after he blocked me, I have not been in his freaking comment section forever. So I don't know what he's talking about. And people should go, if you haven't seen it, go check out my debate with Noah Smith from 5 years ago. So obviously he's still butthurt about it.
It's not just his takes on China. It's his takes on anywhere in the world are just incredibly ridiculous. And yet he gets ratioed all the time. People are always calling him out. He does a lot of blocking, which leads me to believe, and it's amazing that he can amass such a big following with such terrible takes. But there is a strategy that people use where they deliberately rage bait for engagement, and they become really popular doing that. Like they deliberately put out the most ridiculous stuff, but he's not even deliberately rage baiting. Like he just his genuine, honest takes drive people into a rage because it's just so stupid, and he blocks them. Otherwise, he would keep them. He's like, this is exactly what I want. I'm rage baiting people. No, he really believes the stuff that he says, and it's remarkable. It's an unintentional rage baiter.
Yeah.
We have okay. This is one that you shared also. Why don't you go into this for us?
Oh, okay. So this is this is a response to a response, and originally it's a people who again, this is like China bad. This again, the China bad, China incoming collapse of China narrative has been around for a long time, more than 2 decades old by this point. So the first tweeter, the Oblomov Bukowski, said this clown has been singing the same song for the last 20 years. Back in 2004, he was predicting China was going to collapse in the next 2 decades, and he posted the receipt. And then Angelica, who is actually from Taiwan, she experienced a sort of a road to Damascus moment recently. Like she used to be a big supporter of the Taiwan's government under Tsai Ing-wen, but she has now quite changed her political stance, and she's for a political solution to the Taiwan issue. And so she replied, she said, I didn't know about these predictions. She gave 4 possible scenarios. Peaceful. So this is the prediction back from 2004. Oh, this, by the way, this is by none other than New York Times columnist. This is Nicholas Kristof. He actually has been posted in China for a decade before he went back to U.S. But back in 2004, he was also posting the 4th scenario for China: peaceful transition to democracy, military coup. Number 3, World War III, but like a war with United States, basically over Taiwan. for civil war and chaos. It's completely ridiculous, but this is kind of the standard liberal talking points about China. So Noah Smith is actually not a standalone, like a fringe talking point. This is a standard mainstream media talking points about China. This is from like the main New York Times columnist reporter who was based in China for decades, and he was giving all these prognoses. So Gordon Chang is not an outlier, guys. Gordon Chang is only amazing for his consistency all throughout the years. But this is what these people have been talking about all this time.
Yeah, Gordon Chang is like a caricature of the whole anti-China industry. He's like one of the more extreme and desperate ones, and the desperation is a little bit too obvious with him. Now on to this. I found this really interesting too. This is somebody I'm mutually connected with for a while. Saying, having lived in China for 20 plus years and watched them gain competence and then utter domination over so many aspects of tech, design, entertainment, finance, etc. And then look at how poorly they manage external perceptions, call it PR, propaganda, whatever. And you realize they aren't even trying to convince the world of outside of how great things are here. Meanwhile, the US dedicates $1.3 billion to convincing people how terrible China is. All I know is that it's going to be a very rude awakening for a lot of people when the curtain's fully open. And we're already seeing that to a large degree, where people are coming and, I Show Speed shows up and has an amazing time here, and people are melting down. There are some people, obviously the younger generation that don't have a lifetime of this propaganda are a little bit easy. It's a little bit easier for them to say, oh, wow, it's not like I'm being told,
Even Lara Trump. Yeah. Even Trump's daughter-in-law, she said, wow, China is amazing. And it's nothing like what they have told us in media over here. Yeah. That is just a big admission. Like everybody realized once they come to China, they have been fed propaganda.
Yeah. And it's going to be, like I said, it's going to be easier with the younger generation. But I feel like for a lot of older people who it's almost been set in stone, like this is a lifelong understanding of theirs. And it's not going to be easy for them to change. But we're seeing change with the new generation. And for everybody else, it's just a rude awakening that there's so much going on that contradicts their entire world understanding.
What American McKee said actually ties into that tweet from Arnaud Bertrand about the French politicians being challenged. I don't know if you have that tweet lined up.
I do. That is the one where they're. Is that the one where they're asked to
name three living Chinese people? Name three living Chinese people.
Yeah. So they're these commentators that comment on China. That's one of their main focuses. And let's look at the video. It's subtitled 27. Here we go.
Qui peut aujourd'hui citer? Je vous pose la question à tous. Qui peut citer autour de cette table le nom? C'est la question que pose Gilles Gressani. Qui peut aujourd'hui citer le nom de 3 Chinois vivants?
Et c'est tout.
Qui peut?
Xi Jinping,
3 Chinois vivants. 3 Chinois vivants. 3 personnes chinoises vivantes.
Et le président
Xi Jinping,
oui, vous voulez les noms,
c'est déjà ça. Xi Jinping, voilà.
Oui.
Vous voyez? Vous voyez?
Non, mais ça dit quelque chose de fondamental.
Ah oui, la vache.
Non, mais je pense que ça dit quelque chose de fondamental parce que
le grand sculpteur.
Parce qu'en fait, on vit en réalité avec des représentations mentales qui sont celles du XXe siècle, du début du XXe siècle. On vit toujours un 2000 alors qu'on est en fait en réalité beaucoup plus proche à 2050.
C'est pas fou.
Et en 2026, la Chine, c'est la moitié de ce qui compte en géopolitique et en économie. Voilà. Et donc, il y a un problème quand effectivement des personnes cultivées qui s'intéressent aux affaires internationales, qui lisent la presse, au fond, ont du mal à se représenter l'existence de 3 figures chinoises. Donc,
how do they miss Jackie Chan? Did they think Jackie Chan already passed away?
Exactly. Like if they don't want to stay in politics, like Jackie Chan, Yao Ming, or like any of these other people,
Jet Li.
Just go for an obvious one. That is the state of China commentators.
I saw a lot of response to Arnold's post. I saw one guy who said, Well, yeah, I couldn't name 3 living Chinese person other than Xi Jinping. But then he goes on say, well, it's really on China because China has a really weak soft power because China is not being able to properly explain themselves to the world. But I am with American McKee. No, this is not on China. This is on you. China is becoming more important day by day. It's up to you to understand what's going on in China. It's not China's job to explain them to you. You're the one that have to make adjustment to reality here.
Right. I mean, some of these guys, they even like talking about Jack Ma. They could go to the business world, the entertainment world, the political world. There's so much to choose from. But I mean, that is the perfect illustration of the average China watcher. And then we got more cope here.
And even like Peng Shuai, remember like when they did a whole campaign about remember Peng Shuai? Well, obviously they've forgotten about Peng Shuai already.
Because it only matters in the moment when somebody is available to prove their point, but they don't have any meaningful understanding of what's going on or meaningful connection to any of the issues they talk about. They just grab whatever they can in the moment. That's a perfect example with the Ferrari on fire also, or the Lamborghini, whatever it was. Lambo, it's just grab it, use it, and then forget about it. And if you are wrong, delete it or block the comments, and then continue on to the next thing. A little bit more cope here. I think, is this one you shared with me? Is this? Yeah, there will be no Chinese century. There won't even be a Chinese couple of years. Is this one that you shared with me?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, like, they keep on saying this, except they keep on saying this for 20 years now. Like, what are you talking about? Again, they imbibe way too much New York Times, Gordon Chan, and it's now becoming some like people's identity when they get challenged. They get offended and very defensive. It's like just travel to China, man. Like you seriously, like if your information is China is what you consume from the mainstream media, you are gaining knowledge about a China in a bizarro world, a China that does not exist in reality.
Right. This next one is yours too. Take it away.
Okay. So this is about originally this is about a debate between Balaj, which is this Indian American investor, and Roman helmet guy who post ridiculous right-wing tweets. And it's they're talking about China and United States. So this Zhang guy, he's actually the founder of G Captain, which is now getting a lot more prominence because he posts a lot of information about marine traffic. Gain prominence because what's happening in Strait of Hormuz. So this guy, I didn't include the tweet here, but for people, this guy one time he posted a whole story about how his son was caught in a school shooting and how he was worried about his son, and somehow he pivoted that to I hate Eileen Gu because she's a traitor to America. Like people were like, what? Like what? How did you just pivot from worrying about your son's safety, which like is humanly relatable, to suddenly I hate Eileen Gu because she's a traitor to America? So this same person posted that tweet. Can you bring that tweet back up? So he says, okay, get the fuck out of here. Go to any Chinese shipyard and ask to see the Eagle. Talk to Americans working in that office right now. Go to any major engineering firm in Houston, major banks on Wall Street, tech company in California, importing in New Jersey. Ask for the export reports. I think some of the maybe got cut off, but his point is America made China. China is able to be prosperous because of America. Americans made China prosperous. Like China owe America for bring them out of the poverty. That was his point. That was his whole point of his threat, which is. It's a very common talking points too, actually. There's a lot of, especially among the right wing, they will say, "Oh yeah, we saved your ass in World War II, and then we brought you out of poverty." Before you guys are
sanctioning China also.
yeah, and they say it's because we allow you to trade with us, so we, that's how we like. This is again. This is it actually, I think it shows kind of the disdain Americans have for actual work. Because you think about what actually happened is these Chinese workers, they're working their ass off to produce consumer goods for which they traded to the American for American dollars. So what they say is like the work itself is actually valueless. With act of charity that we're buying these goods that's producing to China. I mean, like, I don't know. It takes a special type of mindset. I think it's American supremacist mindset to think that somehow China owed to America to lift themselves out of poverty in the last 40 years. I don't know. Yeah. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's no matter what, they're going to find, I mean, like the original example of, his kid being caught up in a possible school shooting and then pivoting to China, like they're just consumed by China. It goes back to American McGee's, post that people are in for a rude awakening, and that rude awakening is manifesting itself in really bizarre ways for people who do not like the idea of China rising or who never expected China to rise as much as it did. So you're going to have all of these hot takes that are just, extremely desperate. But yeah,
and I think a part of it that is because China is a non-Western, non-white nation.
That's a huge part of it.
Those people are not comfortable with that. They're definitely not comfortable with that. Being not only they see U.S. losing its top dog status, but it's losing its top dog status to a non-white, non-Western nation. That's what triggered them so much.
Yeah. I mean, it's the whole. When you look at the Five Eyes, white, English-speaking countries, and you look at their other most important alliances, it definitely gravitates around that. Now, if it was one of America's own allies exceeding them, they still would have had an issue with it. But you've got two elements at play at the same time in this case. We have another one that you brought up here. Here we go. You go ahead.
Oh, okay. So this is again the American American commander saying that South Korea is a dagger pointed to China, an unsinkable aircraft carrier. Now, this is a common talking points from American military, because even stretching back to the Korean War, General Douglas MacArthur has called Taiwan a unthinkable aircraft carrier parked off the coast of China. So I quote tweeted to the effect that, to American military, any land in the periphery of China is an unsinkable aircraft carrier, to be used against China. When you have a nail, when you have a hammer, everything is a nail. But again, this is obviously very unfriendly rhetoric to talk in an international forum.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and you have this going on for this positioning for ages. And then when you see China building up their defensive capacity, that becomes the aggression in the eyes of the West, not what they are responding to, the reason for that buildup, which is predominantly focused on defensive capacity. But yeah, no, it's all backwards. We have this is a little bit more just U.S. focused. You found this one on the Iranian crypto. Let me see if I have got the video here. Oh, here we go. Let's have a listen. It's 58 seconds.
Kind of 2,200 the shells and missiles and drones here, 500 or 600 there. All of a sudden, it's here. They have at it. So we've frozen Iranian bank accounts
after they started getting bombed by Iran.
Yes, but it was a big strategic
mistake
failure on the financial side.
And you jumped right in.
And we jumped right in, and they've been very good partners. I believe that we have seized about $1 billion of their crypto, and
just outright seized it.
Just outright grabbed the wallets. Some of them may be like typing in right now and realize. They might not have realized that their wallet had been grabbed, and we are working with our allies all over Europe to grab villas and houses and properties, and this is money that's stolen from the Iranian people.
But you've seen.
Yeah. Well, this should raise an alarm bell for all the crypto bros. You think you are safe from the American government by storing your wealth in crypto. Well, guess what? Besson just publicly bragged about grabbing $1 billion worth of crypto from Iranians, and he said that as a matter of factly, like we just grabbed it, and we also grabbed their other asset, and they phrase it as we say it's because they took it from Iranian people, so we took it from them, which is again very bogus because United States, they still have the Afghan money. There's a large amount of money that belong to Afghanistan that United States has withheld to this day. Again, they claim because the Afghan government doesn't represent Afghan people, so we're gonna hold it for you. And there's so many levels, but this should be a alarm bell for all these crypto bros. You're not safe. United States government will say seize it.
Yeah. With the Afghan money, they were even working with the proposal. I don't think it actually ended up going through, but it's outrageous to even have this as a proposal, is to take the money that belonged to the Afghan people and redistribute it to the victims of 9/11, for which the Afghan population had absolutely nothing to do with. Yeah, I mean, these are the kinds of things that accelerate de-dollarization. To be able to take somebody's Bitcoin keys, I mean, they must have had somebody working on the inside. I don't know, unless there's another way to do it, but you would need the keys in order to do that. But however it is, when he said this is taken directly from the Iranian people, he was trying to suggest that those assets were funded by the Iranian people, and therefore they are rightfully taking it away. And once America has it, I mean, the Iranian people are not going to see it anymore. He's admitting that absolutely directly.
And this is why Iran has been also asked people to pay in RMB. United States was at one point threatening to sanction Chinese banks for that, but they didn't go follow through with their threat because they knew that would be like a financial nuclear bomb, and that would just be a disaster for the international finance. But that just means more people will find ways to move off the dollar. And I think it will strengthen the case for RMB, because you see, we can still conduct and trading RMB, and US will be too chicken shit to sanction the Chinese bank for RMB transactions.
Right. Just to clarify on this, when I mentioned they needed the keys, that is if they have it in cold storage. But yeah, if they had it on a hot wallet, on some sort of a service or something like that, then it would be a little bit easier. As they say in crypto, not your keys, not your crypto. So I don't know how they did it, but yeah, it's definitely a wake-up call for everybody. Now, what do we got next? We have, so we had the name 3 Chinese. We have that. 20. Okay, this is interesting. You go ahead. This is one you shared.
Hold on, let me.
Lex Friedman. Hitchhiking.
Okay, so this has been going viral because apparently Lex Friedman and this other vlogger, they've been hitchhiking around China, and they didn't speak much Chinese, and the trucker apparently helped them. And so the Chinese media actually hunted down that trucker, and he gave them an interview about the whole transaction. Maybe we can take a look.
Yeah, let's see. Here we go.
For people who don't know, Lex, who runs a podcast with millions of followers. Yeah.
He's interviewed world leaders. It's 2 minutes and 40 seconds, but it's pretty good. So let's go ahead. Here we go.
你干啥？
英国。Yeah, 我们从宁夏。
Can we get a ride for a little bit?
A video of a Chinese truck driver giving 2 foreign travelers a ride has gone viral online.
我是第一次遇到外国人这么近距离的，所以我当时特别开心。我想把它记录一下。我不敢想象我遇到了什么人，确实太厉害了。
After sharing the experience online, Mr. Yang was flooded with comments and likes. Later, he discovered who the 2 travelers were.
One is Lex Fridman, the well-known podcaster who has interviewed figures such as Elon Musk and Jensen Huang. The other is travel content creator Mike O'Kennedy, who documents his journeys around the world for millions of viewers online.
According to Lex's post, he is traveling around the world and trying hitchhiking for the first time. China is the very first stop on his journey.
当时是这么想的，世界这么大，一个美国的，一个英国的，还有一个中国的，我们3个人在这一刻能走到一起，那是天大的缘分呀！他发现我在用余光看他的时候，他立马用翻译器跟我讲，他们是在谈论城市生活和农村生活有什么不同，人生如何才能找到幸福，然后就谈论这些事情，他给我解释了一下。下车之后，他说他要给我钱，然后我说算了不用了，然后他说他要送我礼物，我说算了也不用了。我跟你说啊，平时我在路上如果遇到不管是咱中国人还是其他人，生人还是熟人，我只要有人招手，我都会把他带一程。
Even with a language barrier, they managed to communicate the whole way through a translation app.
Welcome to China.
Thank you so much.
我们中国很美很安全，这里的人很好。
我们走遍了中国，我们一直遇到善良有爱心的人。
As China's expanded visa-free policies bring more international visitors into the country, more travelers are sharing their experiences through social media.
And as China travel continues trending online, moments like this are helping people around the world see a different side of China, not through headlines or stereotypes, but through everyday people, real encounters, and genuine human connection.
我希望他们在中国多玩几天，然后把我们中国人民的这种友善、淳朴、好客的一面展现给外国人。
See, this is the kind of things that I think prompted that Wall Street Journal, Japanese reporter, to post that fear-mongering article about how the Chinese attitude toward foreigners are hardening and how they're now being hostile. There's a hostile reaction to foreigners coming to China, which couldn't be further from the truth. I would say this truck driver's interaction with Lex Freeman and Michael Connie is more typical of interaction between a Chinese, ordinary Chinese people and a foreigner tourist traveling in the country.
Yeah. Hitchhiking isn't really a thing in China. So I interviewed somebody, except for the Tibetan regions. It's very, very common for Tibetans in the Tibetan regions to hitchhike all over. But yeah, I interviewed someone before, Courtney. She was hitchhiking from China to, I think it was South Africa. She posts her stuff on Instagram. I think it's under Hitchhiker Courtney or something like that. And I dropped her off at a highway entrance place, and I just felt awkward about the whole thing. I'm like, this is weird. This isn't something you usually do. But somebody picked her up really quickly. So even though that isn't really part of culture in China, there's always somebody here willing to help. And when you have these interactions, you have that warmth. You feel that warmth from the people here. You hear their life stories and things like that. I like that comment that we just got saying thank goodness for these translation apps, because it's not possible to go through the BBC as the median who's going to deliberately mistranslate it. But you're going to see more and more experiences like this where people realize what China's actually about. So no, that's great.
Yeah,
so
the Americans are actually missing out because they're one of the few countries among the advanced economy that still do not have 30 days visa free to China, but they can travel to China on transit visa for 10 days.
Or just get a proper visa.
Get a proper visa, because China and United States, they have a visa agreement that allow you to get a 10-year multiple entry visa. Then you're set for next 10 years. That's what I have.
No, I mean it's such there's so much variety here, and it's so safe in China also, to the point where when you've been here like me for 18 years, when we travel overseas, I have to remind myself how to watch your back again. Like, you take these things for granted. You can walk around with a pile of cash in your hand here, nothing's going to happen. I can leave my keys in my motorbike overnight, and it's still going to be there when I get back. Can leave my doors unlocked. And honestly, it's when I go back, I've got to untrain myself from these. I wouldn't call them bad habits. It's nice to not have to worry about this stuff. But yeah, for that and so many other reasons, just the ease of getting around. Now the payment situation is obviously getting a little bit easier. It's a no-brainer. Like, this is, and I think it is going to become a top destination for a lot of people. There used to be this fascination with Japan, and I get it. I can understand why. But with more and more of this, Japanese people exploding, or at least a certain segment of society, particularly the right-wing side, exploding at even their own people for dancing in a video, China's starting to look a lot more attractive. We got another one from you here. You go ahead, break this one down for us, or your reaction.
So this is just Donald Trump's social post, and he keeps on after all this time that he has gone back to United States, keep on posting photos of himself with Xi. I mean, this is just Trump trying to prop himself up as a world leader. Like, look, I have been treated with respect, great respect in China. They respect me. They really think I'm a great world leader. Because he doesn't have much else going for him at the moment. He's like the whole Strait of Hormuz situation is a mess, and he want to move as far as away possible from the Epstein file. So what can he post? Oh, okay, my picture with Xi Jinping, that makes me look dignified.
Right. Yeah. Oh, he's so addicted. He is so addicted to his image and propping himself up that it's just so I mean, that response too, when he's in this garden with these ancient trees with Xi Jinping, and his question isn't about the history of the place, the type of tree, or how it's maintained, or how interesting it is, like how many dynasties these trees must have seen. It's how many other world leaders have been here. Am I special? like so tacky. But it's the new norm. Like, if that just came out of nowhere and it was an isolated incident, people would be talking about it a lot more. They'd be like, oh my God, that is so tacky. But it's just like, that's the new normal. That's the new normal. That's who he is.
But he also shows kind of the growth in stature of China. Like he would not have done this 9 years ago when he first visited China, and just in those 9 years, China has advanced so much and grow so much. Now he has to treat China with respect. He was on his best behavior when he was over there, and I think that will also become a new norm. People will finally realize China is not to be trifled with, and China is a great power. And for the people that don't know who can't name 3 living Chinese people, well, it is on you to find out, because otherwise you will be missing out.
That is a really good point, that it is something worth bragging about now. to get a warm reception from China is something worth bragging about to your people on a global stage, which wouldn't have been the case before, like you said. We got another one that you have brought up here. I'll let you go ahead with this one. I think this is one you shared, right?
Isn't it because what every other Chinese had to do is okay. So this is again, the typical Western talking points. Like, isn't it because every other Chinese person has to do with what Xi Jinping wants? Again, this is the assumption that every Chinese is just like an automaton, a robot. They can't have free will of their own opinion. So you got a sense that other people don't really matter because they don't have any say, any independent power or agency of their own. This is a very common Western mindset when it comes to China. And this guy is responding to the fact that that those French big pundits couldn't name more than couldn't name 3 living Chinese people other than Xi Jinping. And the person below him agree with him like this. I want to name Jack Ma. Remember, he was disappeared by the regime. Has he been returned to life in one piece? I mean, like, look, you people really think Jack Ma just died, just disappeared? I mean, like, this is the thing. These people have so little knowledge about China, yet they speak so confidently about China.
Right. This next one is a remarkable accusation. Here we go. It's probably showing up for you, right? It takes a while.
Yes.
So
yes.
You go ahead because it's not showing up for me yet. You can.
Well, it's your Palantir CEO, Alex Karp. Everybody's favorite guy, and he said, in the West, we actually care when human dies. China or Russia lost 700,000 people in Ukraine. They don't care. We don't. Palantir is telling you that they care about human life.
Let's hear him say it too. I've got the video. Yeah. Let's hear him say it and then dig into it deeper, because that really is something coming from him.
I think the most important question to ask is, what is the technology we have that we haven't implemented yesterday?
And what is that?
So, well, AI target system software that actually works, hybrid AI, products that are smaller. I mean, we're all talking about similar spectrum of like taking the human out of the loop so the human isn't murdered by, like, we have a problem. In the West, we actually care when humans die. So we have to, if we're fighting China or Russia, Russia's lost 700,000 people in Ukraine. They don't care. None of these countries actually care. So how do we make the battlefield more like ours? Well, we don't care if we lose a piece of steel. We do care if we lose a human.
So first of all, he's talking about AI weapons. Notice he wasn't talking about any AI. He's talking about specifically AI weapon, AI targeting. And he said, this is because we care about human life. And of course, he's really saying, like, we care about American life. We don't care about other people's life that we're going to kill because we don't see them as humans. That's what he's really saying. But then again, he said, China, obviously they don't care. He's talking about China that haven't fought a war in the last 40 years. China, which has not been in a war for, again, a lot of other people will say, oh, that's because, this shows China doesn't have combat experience, unlike America. Well, maybe because they do value human life. Maybe China, that's why they haven't fought a war in the last 40 years compared to the United States. I mean, for American, and especially a CEO of Palantir, to claim that they care more about human life, I mean, this is just... I don't know what kind of parody or satire this is anymore.
Yeah, the amount of money that America pours into weapons development and products, and then you look at China, who's pouring money into infrastructure, building infrastructure projects that wouldn't make sense from a Wall Street mindset, but uplift, like we were talking earlier, so many people out of poverty. And you're trying to convince people that they don't care about these people, that they're willing to disproportionately spend even on remote communities to uplift their lives and give them a living income, raising hundreds of millions of people out of poverty. While meanwhile, since 9/11, you have had millions, literally millions of people die in either direct U.S. conflicts or proxy wars from the U.S. There was a group, I think it was Mint Press or someone else. They did a study on that, and 5 years ago it was already up to like 8 million or something like that. But yeah, to have anybody from the U.S., let alone this guy, say that it's China that doesn't value human lives, just after blowing up a school with 200 girls in it in Iran. I mean, how tone deaf, how outrageous to hear someone like that say something like that.
Well, again, for people like him, the other people are not humans. That's what he's really saying. It's just like, oh, we develop AI targeting. We develop all this AI weapons. It's because we care about human lives. He's really saying we're not putting American lives on the line, but these other people we kill, well, they don't matter because they're not humans, really, in our eyes.
Yeah. And that's the surface narrative that they need Americans to believe, but when you actually dig deeper, they don't care about American servicemen either.
No.
who are going out to Iran without proper food. That they have to make AI images of service members on ships off the coast of Iran eating properly because they're not actually eating properly in reality. They don't care about them either, but they have to maintain that illusion so that people still sign up for the military. I mean, if they actually started to catch on to the fact that the U.S. government doesn't care about your lives either, then they're going to have a big problem on their hands. So, yeah, that's the surface narrative that they want to put out, to pretend to even care about that small portion. But they're admitting, like you said, they're admitting that they don't actually care about anybody else. They only care about American lives, and even that is false when you actually dig deeper. Okay, this is this is so blatant. Like I don't know how she can post this and not realize how blatant it is. But you go ahead and dig into this one.
The council. Okay, this is of course from Laura Loomer. He's talking about Jensen Huang, right? Jensen Huang being the founder and the head of NVIDIA. He's saying that the fact that Jensen Huang joining the board of Tsinghua University, China's premier CCP organized institution, then he said this is basically treason. It says this is basically, Jensen Huang is selling out America. And oh man, this is I mean, really, like, she's just playing racism here. Like Jensen Huang is because Jensen Huang is ethnic Chinese, and he has a lot of business ties in China, and this is so he must be automatically suspect. Even though again, Laura Loomer herself is one of the biggest supporter of Israel. But let's not look there. Let's not look for Israeli influence in the United States. Let's look at supposedly Chinese influence in America. I mean, this is so stupid because NVIDIA is actually foundational to the whole American AI bubble, right? I mean, like how you are going after NVIDIA? Yeah. See, I mean, like I don't even know where to go.
And she's literally skipped over every other American's name and only highlighted his name. I mean, this is like, what's the only difference is that he's ethnically Chinese. That's it.
Yep.
It's really blatant. We got a little bit of a fun one here. We got a video. Chinese tanks are powered by human push. And let's play the video here to see.
So I actually saw that video on Douyin. I actually wanted to post it on Twitter and as a trolling post, say, oh, Strait of Hormuz closure is having a huge impact on China. The Chinese military is running out of fuel, so they have to push their armored personnel carrier. But before I was able to do it, some Falun Gong associated people already posted. But except they made it like literal. They made it literal. They're like, oh, look at that. China is just military. They have to push their own armored vehicles. I mean, this is actually occasion for like a PLA demo that took place in Macau. Like the whole point was it was a demonstration of strength, right? And also you don't want these heavy armor vehicles to burn like heavy diesel with like heavy black smoke with all these elementary school kids sitting in front, right? I mean, like that's not what you want to do. I mean, this is actually pretty common among other militaries too. Like U.S. military do the same thing, but these guys really thought they had something here. You know, they really thought that was a gotcha moment. Look, this is like on the same level of that propaganda saying that North Koreans have to push their own trains.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. I mean, like, and it's showing obviously human strength, and the impressive thing is, wow, a couple of guys can push this heavy tank. But yeah, it's the same thing we were talking about earlier. Find something, latch onto it, quickly put it out there, and develop some sort of a narrative that fits it. We have, we've been going on for quite a while here, but we got one more left. I can't remember what this one was. Let's see here. Oh yeah. I this was interesting, and this goes hand in hand with this wake up call that we were talking about all along. When I was in China, a Chinese friend of mine looked at me straight in the face and asked, "I hear in America that if you don't have food to eat, they will just let you starve and die. This can't be true, right?" And also said, "Couldn't you just go to the police station and ask for help?" And then my city recently made it illegal to hand out food to homeless people. And that's a Democrat mayor and governor, no less. Yeah, this is like when there isn't a campaign in China to demonize America. As a matter of fact, there were people who posted like super critical stuff on America before on Bilibili and platforms like this, and they would get banned for just being too inflammatory towards America.
A lot of people actually don't believe them. A lot of the Chinese people thought, "No, you gotta be making stuff up. No way, that's true."
Yeah. But that's my point. My point is even without a deliberate effort to convince Chinese people that there are major structural problems in the U.S., I don't know if some of it's more acceptable now to post because it's just too obvious. It's too big of a story. That people for a long time just had this like, he's like, wow, it's like. Some of it is over exaggerated, I guess, to a certain degree. Like I remember little kids asking me in America, "Will how easy is it to get shot?" Is that something they should really be concerned about? Obviously, more so than places like China or elsewhere. But yeah, that is a shock to people. And it should be a shock to people that the richest nation on earth, the number one superpower, has people struggling the way that they are, has a homelessness problem at the level that they do, when not only is it not prioritized to solve those issues like it was here, the poverty alleviation programs, where they were literally sending people into villages all around China to solve this issue, that they're even going in the opposite direction, where they make it illegal for you to even help these people. That is such a bizarre concept for somebody in China.
And the question also shows how Chinese people have a different relationship with their police. They will ask, "Why couldn't you go to the police station, ask for help?" You just don't do that in the United States, man. Like in China, you can go up to the policeman to ask for direction. That's very common, and people in China, they don't fear their police. You see people arguing with police all the time in public. You don't want to do that in LA. I'll tell you personal experience. Don't do that in LA.
There's this really cool bar near my place. It's a whiskey bar, and the guy clearly opened it as a passion project. Like he drives a Maserati. He's not one of those ones who's changed to a Chinese EV yet. He's got this giant snake that he keeps in a box in a heated whatever proper place for the snake. He's got katanas and all these different models. And it's just a cool place to hang out. And there was a police officer off duty who was there, and he was saying that there's an officer that's assigned to each neighborhood, and it's really exhausting work because you get called for everything. Sometimes it's just a couple arguing or something. He's got to show up. He's like, okay, stop arguing, whatever. But they also get called in because like their drains are blocked or something like that. And they're coming in and they're like, this is what you call me for. But then they end up helping them. They end up saying, okay, let me see if I can help you with this. And so I heard the same thing in Xinjiang also. It's like they just call them for everything. So this idea
my experience in Xinjiang with local police they're very helpful and friendly. Or according to our Russian photographer Stan, he lives in Shanghai. He says the Xinjiang police even more friendlier than the Shanghai police. And by the way, most of the police I met in Xinjiang are locals. They're Uyghurs, especially in the more southern part of Xinjiang, where like the heavy Uyghur majority area. They're all locals, mostly Uyghur police.
Yeah. To the point where also sometimes there's these kinds of highway checkpoints, especially as you're going to border regions. And some of them, they don't speak Mandarin that well even. Like they're usually communicating in their local language. Even people in the government who are supposed to be speaking the national, language. I remember I pulled up to one and he's like very thick Uyghur accent. And he started talking to me, wondering where I was from. And then asking, if I have kids. And then when I told him I had 5 kids, which usually before wasn't really a big deal for Uyghurs have really big families. But he said, really? He said, 一个老婆吗? One wife? And the other Uyghur guys behind him were laughing, and they were like, yes, one wife.
Your wife deserve a medal like this. Back in the days in the 50s, she will get a medal for like the heroic mom or something.
I had you met my old friend who I've known for over 10 years, Joe, the Tibetan guy from Qinghai. He came over 2 or 3 weeks ago, and he brought his baby, who's like 1 year old or just over 1 year old, and she ended up getting a fever while she was here. And then so my wife, she's been through it 5 times, took care of the whole thing, did the bath, and you had to bring the temperature down. And they were so thankful that when he went back, he sent me this beautiful tanka, which was painted in, because he's doing this business now. He's connected with schools where students can sell their work, and he's reselling them in China. I told him we got to get it on, sell it internationally. But this beautiful, it's like a prayer thing written in gold paint, circular. I'll have to get a picture of it next time to share.
Yeah.
But she's definitely super mom. That's for sure. But yeah, I think we've been going on for a while here. We got some more personal stories we can share next time also. But we're coming up to 2 hours here. It's a record for us so far. I hope everybody has enjoyed that. And did you have anything else you wanted to wrap up on, Carl?
No, I'm good. I'm thinking about what shirt I should wear next time. I haven't unpacked my shirts yet. I'm on my last colorful shirt.
I think I've got one. I think I got one more in the tank.
Okay.
I'll have to pick up some more off of Pinduoduo and keep up with it. So. I've got some equipment. I'm going to be driving with my family in my RV for 2 months through mostly Xinjiang. I'll go to Beijing first, and then I'll drive through Inner Mongolia. But I'm taking some equipment with me so we can still do our show on the road.
Nice.
Hope maybe we can do it with some scenery in the background. But
that would be amazing.
That would be really fun.
That would be amazing.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for joining. Thanks again, Carl, and we will see you all in the next episode. Peace.